what if it's 2 times the smartest human on Earth on that particular discipline?
Yeah.
I guess you're really good at sort of probing Claude in a way that pushes its limits, understanding where the limits are.
Yep.
So I guess what would be a question you would ask to be like, yeah, this is AGI?
That's really hard because it feels like in order to, it has to just be a series of questions. Like if there was just one question, like you can train anything to answer one question extremely well.
Yeah.
In fact, you can probably train it to answer 20 questions extremely well.
Like how long would you need to be locked in a room with an AGI to know this thing is AGI?
It's a hard question because part of me is like, all of this just feels continuous. Like if you put me in a room for 5 minutes, I'm like, I just have high error bars, you know, I'm like, and then it's just like, maybe it's like both the probability increases and the error bar decreases. I think things that I can actually probe the edge of human knowledge of. So I think this with philosophy a little bit. Sometimes when I ask the models philosophy questions, I am like, this is a question that I think no one has ever asked. Like it's maybe like right at the edge of like some literature that I know. And the models will just kind of like, when they struggle with that, when they struggle to come up with a kind of like novel, like I'm like, I know that there's like a novel argument here because I've just thought of it myself. So maybe that's the thing where I'm like, I've thought of a cool novel argument in this like niche area, and I'm going to just like probe you to see if you can come up with it and how much like prompting it takes to get you to come up with it. And I think for some of these like really like right at the edge of human knowledge questions, I'm like, you could not in fact come up with the thing that I came up with. I think if I just took something like that where I know a lot about an area and I came up with a novel issue or a novel like solution to a problem and I gave it to a model and it came up with that solution, that would be a pretty moving moment for me because I would be like, this is a case where no human has ever, like it's not, and obviously we see these with like more kind of like, you see novel solutions all the time, especially to like easier problems. I think people overestimate that, you know, novelty isn't like, it's completely different from anything that's ever happened. It's just like, it can be a variant of things that have happened and still be novel. But I think, yeah, if I saw like, the more I were to see like completely like novel work from the models, that would be like, and this is just going to feel iterative. It's one of those things where there's never, it's like, you know, people I think want there to be like a moment. And I'm like, I don't know. Like, I think that there might just never be a moment. It might just be that there's just like this continuous ramping up.
I have a sense that there will be things that a model can say that convinces you this is very, it's not like I've talked to people who are like truly wise. Like you could just tell there's a lot of horsepower there.
Yep.
And if you 10x that, I don't know. I just feel like there's words you could say. Maybe ask it to generate a poem. And the poem it generates, you're like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Whatever you did there, I don't think a human can do that.
I think it has to be something that I can verify is like actually really good though. That's why I think these questions that are like, where I'm like, oh, this is like, sometimes it's just like, I'll come up with, say, a concrete counterexample to like an argument or something like that. I'm sure like with like, it would be like if you're a mathematician, you had a novel proof, I think, and you just gave it the problem and you saw it and you're like, this proof is genuinely novel. Like no one has ever done, you actually have to do a lot of things to like come up with this. I had to sit and think about it for months or something. And then if you saw the model successfully do that, I think you would just be like, I can verify that this is correct. It is a sign that you have generalized from your training. Like you didn't just see this somewhere because I just came up with it myself and you were able to like replicate that. That's the kind of thing where I'm like, for me, the more that models like can do things like that, the more I would be like, oh, this is like very real. Cause then I can like verify that that's like extremely, extremely capable.